Hello friends, you're watching Candid Authentic Roots channel. We share a trip along Bryansk city in a frosty winter day. We're driving through the Bejitsky district of Bryansk. Let's tell you a little about the history of this area. Until 1956, it was the town of Bejitsa, one of the small towns in the Bryansk region. The town appeared near the station of the Oryol-Vitebsk railway. There was a forest on the site of the current center of the town. They began to cut it down when the Moscow merchant Gubonin conceived a plan to build a huge factory here. Initially, Pyotr Yanovich dreamed of building a railway, but in the competition for the contract, he was beaten by his English competitor. Then the merchant realized that wooden sleepers would be needed for the road. He bought forests and wasteland from the local landowner Astakov and founded production. A settlement began to grow around the new plant and station. The station had no luck with its name for a long time. At first it was given the name Bejitsa, but in the Tver province there was already a Bezhetsk station. Confusion arose and cargo began to be misdirected. After this they gave the name Bryansk Plant, but here a similar situation happened with the Bryansk Arsenal. Then it was decided to name the station Bolva. It arose as a village next to the Bryansk iron-making, rail-rolling and steel plant, which is now called the Bryansk Machine-Building Plant. This plant was founded in the early 1870s. It was located 10 miles from Bryansk, on flat terrain. It was bounded from the north by the railway, from the east by the Desna River, and from the south by the Bolva River. The plant was founded by Moscow merchants Gubonin and Golubev. However, the third companion, the talented entrepreneur Prince Tenishev, had the greatest influence on his development. In 1873, the first buildings began to be built. These were iron foundry, mechanical and rolling workshops. Soon a workers' settlement appeared near the plant, which at first consisted of barracks and dugouts. The plant quickly took one of the leading places in the country. Already in 1878, it produced a third of all steel in Russia. By this time, a large settlement of 10,000 people with a regular network of streets had formed in the area of 1000 initial development. It is located on a rectangular plot stretching from north to south, bounded on the east by Bazaar Street and on the west by Church Street. They are connected by several short transverse streets running parallel to the railway. At the entrance to the village from Bryansk, there was the old Bazaar Square. In the north, near the railway, a large park was laid out, around which 1 or 2 story public buildings were built, a hospital, a school, and a kindergarten. On Church Street there was a large wooden temple and the Church of the Transfiguration, built in 1822. Unfortunately, they have not survived nowadays. In the 1880 to 90s, large buildings were erected on the territory of the Bryansk plant, which still determine the appearance of the plant. Along with the growth of the plant, a workers' settlement was also actively built. Entire urban planning structures appeared that significantly influenced the modern appearance of the district. Wooden houses were gradually replaced by stone ones, and a network of charitable and public institutions developed. In 1897, about 19,000 inhabitants lived in the town. Of these, 123 were nobles, 246 were honorary citizens, 4,174 were burghers, and 14,234 were peasants. Swedes, Englishmen, Germans, and Poles lived together with the Russians. There are 775 houses in the village, 759 of which are wooden. All roads are earthen. Several workers at the rail rolling plant wrote a letter to Mishurin himself and asked to send new varieties of fruit trees. The famous breeder came to the town himself, donated seedlings, and showed new methods of work. Already the next spring, Mishurin apple trees were turning green in the village. Workers liked to spend time in the grove north of the railway station. A lake was dug here, which was filled with underground springs. In the middle of the lake, they built an island with sofas under birch trees. And in the reservoir itself, black swans were bred. To the south of the station, in 1880, a park of 30 acres was laid out, called Narodny. The entertainment here lived up to its name: cards, fist fights, and taverns. Now this is May Park. Most of the residents of the town were born in the building of the city hospital of the beginning of the century, receiving food in the dairy kitchen, in the hotel of the merchant Merdzin of the 19th century. Princess Maria Tenisheva herself was involved in the improvement of this territory. The Tenishevs had their own residential building in the park. In the park, Princess Tenisheva founded the town factory public meeting. This was in 1894. There was a hall for lectures and concerts, a reading room, and a library. The park also has tennis courts, a summer stage, a bowling alley, and playgrounds. A large-scale development of public education took place in the town. From 1895 to 1909, 11 buildings for educational institutions were built here. By 1910 to 1911, the number of students there reached 2,000, and maintenance costs amounted to 50,000 rubles per year. By 1910, the plant in the town became one of the largest in Russia. The fixed capital of the joint stock company amounted to 24.175 million rubles, and the number of workers increased to 8,800. The population of the town increased to 25,000 people. 900 workers had their own houses and rented land. The rest lived in factory houses. When Church Street began to be actively built up, the road was very uneven, full of potholes. By that time, at the end of the street, where the city hospital number 1 is now located, there was already a mention of the chief accountant of the Bryansk rail rolling, iron making and mechanical plant Ivan Zhmurov. At his request, the plant allocated crushed red brick from its brick shop, and the pits were filled up. Since then, people have nicknamed the street the Red Carpet. The western side of the current 3rd International Street was considered elite. Officials, factory employees, and priests built houses here. Merchants and artisans lived on the eastern side. Almost all buildings were originally wooden and one-story. At the beginning of Church Street, opposite the temple, there was a Nikolsky store. Since there was a railway station nearby, it was a good place for trading. Soon grandmothers appeared near the store with simple goods: milk, boiled potatoes, and fried mushrooms. Traders from the old bazaar also came here. It was located on what is now Ulyanov Street. In 1903, there was already a bustling market on the station square. It consisted of 8 buildings of covered counters. A special highlight of the new retail space was the hairdressing booth. There is little left from those times on the streets of the town, where the city library is now. 100 years ago, there was a factory pharmacy. Pharmacists mixed powders and mixtures on the 2nd floor, and residents settled on the 1st floor. On the same eastern side of the street, on the territory of the current kindergarten, there was the Mininsky School. Children are now gnawing on the granite of science and coming to the old building of the men's gymnasium. The pre-revolutionary baths built in 1910 are still in operation. Since the beginning of the last century, there has been a printing house in the town. The fire station building, erected on the site of its wooden predecessor, has been preserved. The area is decorated with a former cottage for engineering and technical workers of the Bryansk rail rolling, iron making, steel and mechanical plant. And now the former town is one of the 4 districts of Bryansk city. That's all for today, and as we said, it was just a business journey, and later we'll show you more of the city's life.
subscribe to the channel, come along for the ride. Join our little journey, let's just go side by side. Watch our new videos, the world is calling us. Venture awaits, so it's gonna be a must. Travel with us, let your spirit fly. Across the mountains, under the endless sky. Memories we'll make as we wander and roam. With every new day, we're building our home. From city lights to oceans, every view's a delight. I'll capture in the moments that sparkle in the night. So hit that bell for magic, let the fun begin. We're chasing the horizon, ready to dive in. Travel with us, let your spirit fly. Across the mountains, under the endless sky. Memories we'll make as we wander and roam. With every new place, we're building our home. Every step we take and your story unfolds. With laughter and joy, these memories are gold. Share the adventure, come along, don't.
Через 300 метров поверните налево.
Life's a beautiful journey, let's live in bliss. Travel with us, let your spirit fly. Across the mountains, under the endless sky. Memories we'll make with every new place, we're building our home.